I died on a Tuesday night in the rain-slicked streets of Seattle. My Honda Civic crumpling like tinfoil against a semi-truck that barreled through the red light. The last thing I remembered was the blare of the horn, the metallic screech, and then nothing. Blackness. Betrayal. But when my eyes snapped open, it wasn't to paramedics or pearly gates. It was to the familiar beige walls of my childhood bedroom. The alarm clock blinking 7:15 a.m. On a crisp September morning 3 years earlier. The day before Mom dropped the bomb that shattered my world. My name is Kylie Harper, and I'd just been reborn. Not in some cosmic joke or fever dream, but right back in my 22-year-old body, heart pounding like a jackhammer, the ghost of that fatal crash still humming in my veins. I bolted upright, sheets tangled around my legs, gasping for air that tasted like stale coffee and regret. The mirror across the room showed my face, freckled cheeks, wild auburn hair, eyes the color of storm clouds, but it was me, pre-broken, pre-everything. My hands flew to my neck, feeling the pulse that had stopped for good in that other life. Alive. Undead. Unfinished. 3 years. That's how far back the universe, or whatever sadistic force ran this show, had hurled me. It was 2022, and I was crashing at Mom and Dad's place in Bellevue, Washington, fresh out of community college with dreams of transferring to UW for journalism. Big plans, bigger loans. The kind of optimism that gets you killed when your family decides you're expendable. I stumbled to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face, staring at the girl who'd trusted too hard. This time, I whispered to my reflection, "You fight dirty." Downstairs, the kitchen smelled like burnt toast and false normalcy. Mom Linda, with her peroxide blonde bob and perpetual smile that never reached her eyes, was flipping eggs, humming some old Taylor Swift tune. Dad, Mark, the quiet engineer with grease under his nails from tinkering in the garage, was buried in the Seattle Times, pretending the world wasn't fracturing around him. And then there was Sarah, my big sister, perched at the island like she owned it, scrolling her phone with that smug tilt to her chin. At 28, she was the golden child, married to her high school sweetheart, a real estate agent closing deals left and right, and now, apparently, desperate for a baby that her perfect life couldn't quite deliver. In my first life, that morning unfolded like a slow-motion car wreck. We'd been eating breakfast, the 4 of us crammed around the oak table Dad built back when we were kids, when Mom cleared her throat and said it casual as checking the weather. "Kylie, honey, we had to make a tough call on your college fund." My fork had frozen midair, yolk dripping onto my plate. Sarah's IVF treatments, 3 rounds, tens of thousands a pop, had drained it dry. Family first, Mom had cooed, like it was a Hallmark card. Dad had mumbled something about sacrifices, eyes on his paper. Sarah? She'd teared up, all apologies and hugs, whispering how she'd pay me back someday. Lies. All of it. I'd swallowed it then, because that's what little sisters do. Nodded, smiled, buried the rage. Dropped out of school to sling lattes at a drive-thru, scraping by on tips while Sarah posted ultrasound pics and Mom gushed about the miracle on the way. The stress ate me alive, nights staring at the ceiling, tallying the zeros I'd lost, the degree I'd never earn. It peaked 6 months later, a heated fight where Sarah accused me of being selfish for resenting her, Mom siding with her like always. I'd stormed out, driven too fast in the downpour. And lights out. But now? Now I knew the rot ran deeper. In those final months before the crash, I'd uncovered the truth while rifling through Mom's desk for rent money. Emails from Sarah to some shady fertility clinic contact, off-the-books deals, forged docs to juice the insurance claims. And worse, a letter from Dad's lawyer, dated a year prior, outlining how Sarah had borrowed from his retirement to cover her wedding, then invested it in a failed flip house that tanked their savings. She'd played the victim, convinced Mom it was all bad luck. And Dad? He'd stayed silent, too spineless to call her out. The family secret: Sarah wasn't just needy, she was a leech, wrapping her claws around us one betrayal at a time. My death, collateral in her endless hunger. I slid into my chair that morning, pulse thundering, and forced a grin. Morning,
fam.
Eggs look killer, Mom. Sarah glanced up, her blue eyes, mirror of mine, but colder, flicking over me like I was yesterday's news. Hey,
Squirt.
late night studying. She always called me that, like I was still the gangly teen trailing her at soccer games. In truth, she'd hated sharing the spotlight even then, sabotaging my tryouts with helpful tips that left me tripping over my own feet.
Yeah.
Cramming for that psych exam.
Lie.
I was already plotting. Breakfast dragged, small talk about Dad's latest project, Mom's book club drama, but under the table, my foot tapped a war drum. When the plates cleared, I lingered, coffee mug steaming in my grip. This was it. The fork in the road. In the old timeline, I'd waited for her to spill. This time, I'd light the fuse. Mom wiped her hands on her apron, that telltale hesitation in her step. Kylie, before you head out, there's something we need to talk about. Dad's paper rustled. He knew. Sarah set her phone down, all wide-eyed innocence. I leaned back, crossing my arms, the words I'd bottled for years bubbling up like acid. Let me guess. My college fund. Her face crumpled, just like before.
Oh.
Honey, it's not that simple. Sarah's been through so much, the treatments, the heartbreak. We thought, family first, right? I cut in, voice steady as steel. The room went tomb silent. Sarah's mouth parted, a fish on dry land. Dad coughed, folding his paper. Mom reached for me, but I jerked back. Save it,
Mom.
I know. All of it. Her eyes widened. Know what? In the first life, I'd play nice. Let the tears flow.
Pretended it didn't gut me.
But death sharpens you. I pulled out my phone, thank God for muscle memory, and opened the banking app I'd checked obsessively back then. Screenshots, transfers, the works. I'd printed them in the other timeline. But here, digital ghosts were enough. The $28,000 from my scholarship account. Straight to Coastal Fertility Solutions. 3 payments. Last one 2 weeks ago. And don't get me started on Dad's 401k dip, the one Sarah accidentally wired to her buddy's LLC for that investment opportunity that vanished like smoke. Sarah's chair scraped back. Kylie, what the hell? That's private. Private. I laughed, sharp and hollow. You mean like how you told Mom I was too immature for that internship last summer? So she pulled strings for you instead? Or how you forgot to mention the fund raid until it was bone dry? The air thickened, accusations hanging like storm clouds. Mom's hand flew to her throat, Dad's face ashen. Sarah? Fury masked as hurt. You're twisting this. I was building a family, our family. Your family, I spat. Not mine. You bled us dry. Sarah. And for what? A kid you weren't even sure you wanted until the guilt trip started. It was the one word that changed everything. No. Just no. No to the tears. The excuses. The endless cycle of her needs trumping mine. Mom gasped. Kylie, that's not fair, but I was already standing. Chair toppling. Fair? Try dead. The word slipped out before I could cage it. My crash. My end. The ultimate price of their blindness. They stared, uncomprehending. I didn't elaborate.
Not yet.
Revenge wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon of thorns. I grabbed my keys, stormed to the door, the rain from my dream memory pattering against the window like applause. Behind me, Sarah's voice cracked. Mom. She's bluffing. Right? But Mom was silent. The first fracture in her fortress of favoritism. Outside. The September air bit crisp. Evergreens whispering secrets. I slid into my Civic, unscarred. For now, and peeled out. Heart a war drum. 3 years to rewrite. First stop, the bank. Then, the real bloodletting. The drive to the Wells Fargo branch in downtown Bellevue felt like crossing into enemy territory. Every stoplight a checkpoint where memories ambush me. In the old life, I'd parked here a week after the reveal, begging the teller for a loan extension. My voice cracking as I explained family emergencies. She'd pitied me. The fresh-faced barista with calluses on her palms and dreams in her eyes. This time, I strode in like I owned the vault, heels clicking on marble floors that echoed my resolve. MS. Harper, the manager said, peering over her glasses at my ID. What can we do for you today? Elena Vasquez, same woman. Kinder eyes this time. I slid the account statement across the desk. The one I pulled up on my phone en route. Freeze all transfers from my education savings. Effective immediately. And I want a full audit trail on every withdrawal since 2020. Her brows furrowed. That's unusual. Is there a concern about fraud? Bingo. I leaned in, voice low. Let's just say family isn't always blood. Send it to my email and CC my attorney. Bluff. I didn't have one yet, but Google was a girl's best friend. By noon, I'd lawyered up via a quick search. Rebecca Klein, a no-nonsense family law shark in Seattle who'd handled enough messy divorces to spot a sibling scam from orbit. Sounds like elder financial abuse with a side of undue influence, she'd purred over the phone. We'll bury M in discovery. But law was the slow blade. I needed the quick stab. Next stop, Sarah's office. Harper Realty, a glossy storefront in a strip mall off I-405, all glass walls and fake ferns. She was there, of course, perched behind her desk like a queen bee, showing listings to a young couple fresh off their honeymoon phase. I didn't knock. The door swung open, bell jingling like a death knell. Kylie, the couple blinked. Sarah's smile faltered. This is a client meeting. Won't take but a minute. I flashed a grin, all teeth, and dropped the bomb. Hey, congrats on the house hunt. Pro tip, check the fine print on those loans. Wouldn't want any surprises, like the ones you pulled on Dad. The wife's eyes narrowed, hubby's hand tightened on hers. Sarah's face went sheet white.
Out.
Now. I lingered, trailing a finger along her award plaque. Top closer. 2021.
Oh.
And tell DR. Patel at Coastal, I said hi. Loved the invoice for that experimental round. You comped through Mom's credit line. Real family values. It was a shot in the dark. I'd glimpsed the name in those emails, but it landed. Her clients murmured excuses, filing out like rats from a sinking ship. Door clicked shut. Alone. You bitch, she hissed, rounding the desk. Up close, Sarah was all sharp edges, Pilates toned arms, Botox smooth forehead cracking under pressure. What do you want? Money? Fine. I'll wire you $5,000. Just drop this. $5,000. Peanuts against the hole she'd gouged. In the first life, I'd taken scraps like that, grateful for crumbs. Not anymore. I want the truth.
Sarah.
All of it. Starting with the wedding fund you lost in that phantom investment. Dad's money, our dad's, down the drain because you couldn't say no to that sleazy developer boyfriend you ditched for Jake. Her laugh was brittle glass. You have no proof. Don't need it yet. I stepped closer. Voice a venomous whisper. But I will. And when I do, every client, every listing, every miracle baby post on your Insta crumbled. You're not just stealing cash,
Sis.
you're stealing lives. She slapped me then, crack echoing like thunder. My cheek burned. A red bloom I hadn't felt since we were kids fighting over the last Pop-Tart. In the old timeline, I'd have recoiled.
Run.
This time, I held her gaze, unblinking. Touch me again. And it's assault charges. See how that plays in family court. I turned on my heel, leaving her sputtering.
Outside.
The sky had darkened, fat drops splattering the windshield.
Fitting.
The storm was just warming up. Back home, our fractured fortress, I found Mom in the living room, nursing a Chardonnay. Dad's truck absent from the drive. Where's he at? I asked, shrugging off my jacket. Garage. Won't talk. Her eyes were puffy. Mascara smudged like war paint. Kylie, what you said this morning. It's not the whole story. I sank onto the couch, worlds away from her. Then tell me the whole story.
Mom.
Why her? Always her. The question hung, raw as an open vein. She'd favored Sarah since the divorce scare when I was 10, Dad's long hours, Mom's loneliness. Sarah had become her confidant, her mini-me, while I was the afterthought, the easy one who didn't need coddling. But it went deeper, a secret festering like untreated wound. She swirled her glass, liquid sloshing. Your sister. She's always struggled. Infertility. It's a curse. And after the miscarriage last year, 2 years ago, in this timeline, I corrected softly. But that's not it.
Is it?
It's the guilt. Over what she did to me in high school. Mom's head snapped up. I'd never voiced it before dying, how Sarah had spread rumors about me hooking up with her ex, tanking my prom date, and my shot at class rep. Petty then, pivotal now. You knew. And you let it slide because she cried harder. Tears spilled then, hot and unfiltered. I thought it would pass. Families forgive. Not this one. My phone buzzed, Elena, with the audit prelims. Transfers confirmed, $28,000 to Sarah's treatments, plus $15,000 rerouted from Dad's IRA via a joint app Mom co-signed. Forged signatures?
Possibly. Mom.
Sign this. I pulled up the lawyer's intake form on my tablet, thumb hovering over send. Or don't. But tomorrow, it goes public. Substack post. Local news tips, the works. Bellevue mom drains daughter's future for Sis's baby dreams.
Kitschy.
Right? She recoiled. You wouldn't. Try me. The bluff held. Her hand shook as she scrawled her name. Victory tasted like ash. Upstairs, I locked my door, collapsing onto the bed that still smelled of lavender detergent and lost innocence. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of twisted metal and Sarah's slap morphing into the crash I dodged. Morning brought the twist I hadn't seen coming. Dad's voice boomed from the kitchen at dawn, rare fire in his timbre. Enough. Linda, she's bleeding us dry. And you enable it. I crept to the landing, eavesdropping like a spy in my own home. Turns out, while I'd been out slashing tires metaphorically, Dad had cracked. Found Sarah's laptop open in the den, emails to her investor. Not a developer but a Ponzi schemer who'd promised quick flips and delivered indictments. $50,000 gone. Not 15. And the kicker. She'd used my college fund as collateral on a personal loan to cover the shortfall, forging my e-signature with a scanned driver's license. Betrayal squared. Dad was done, lawyer on speed dial. Assets segregating. Mom wailed. A sound like keening wind. Sarah burst in mid-fight, overnight bag in hand, Jake trailing like a whipped dog. This is insane. Kylie's poisoning you all. Poison? Dad thundered. You're the damn toxin. The room erupted. Accusations flying. Furniture shoved. I descended the stairs slow, a specter in yoga pants, and met Sarah's glare. One word. Sis. No. She lunged, but Jake held her back. We're leaving. Disown us if you want. They stormed out, tires squealing into the mist. Mom crumpled. Dad paced.
Me?
I felt the first real breath since waking. But revenge's high fades fast. By noon, Rebecca called. We've got leverage. Kylie. But it's gonna get ugly. You ready for the fallout? Ugly was my middle name now. Born ready. The fallout hit like a Pacific Nor'wester, fierce, unrelenting, uprooting everything in its path. By Monday, Rebecca had filed the restraining order, no contact from Sarah or her proxies, pending the civil suit for restitution and fraud. The bank froze joint assets. Dad transferred his IRA to a solo account. Ironclad. Mom? She checked into therapy. Her Chardonnay swapped for chamomile, whispering apologies in the hallway like a penitent. I failed you, Kylie. Both of you.
Both.
As if Sarah's sins absolved mine. But I nodded. Parceled forgiveness, like rations. Trust? That was a longer thaw. Sarah didn't go quiet. Oh no. She weaponized the suburbs, texts from burners, voicemails laced with sobs. You're destroying our family for spite. Jake emailed from his work account. All corporate polish. Let's mediate. For the greater good. Greater good. The phrase curdled my coffee. I forwarded it all to Rebecca, who chuckled like a hyena. Bait.
Keeping coming.
The real fun started when she subpoenaed Coastal Fertility's records. Turns out, Sarah's experimental round? Black market embryos. Sourced from a whistleblower case in California. Ethical nightmare. Legal landmine. The clinic settled quick, $40K payout to avoid headlines, but Sarah? She lawyered up too. Some ambulance chaser from Tacoma claiming emotional distress. Court date loomed 2 months out. A November chill settling over Bellevue's evergreens. In the interim, life warped into a pressure cooker. I re-enrolled at community college. Nights buried in lit readings, Orwell's warnings on family as tyranny hitting too close. Dad and I bonded over takeout Thai. Him opening up about the scars I'd only glimpsed before, his own mom's favoritism toward his brother. The way it echoed in our house. I was blind.
Kiddo.
Won't be again. Mom tried, cooking my favorites, leaving tuition checks on my dresser, but the ghost of her signature on those transfers lingered. A specter at every meal. Sarah escalated mid-October, crashing a neighborhood block party like a grenade in a picnic basket. I'd been chatting with Mrs. Ellis from down the street, gossiping about her divorce, when the screech of brakes announced her arrival. She piled out of Jake's SUV, megaphone in hand. Yes, really? Borrowed from some PDA protest. Voice amplified over the grill smoke. Kylie's a liar. She's suing her own blood for a grudge. Head swiveled. Whispers rippled. Kids froze mid-tag. I stood there, solo cup of rose in hand, the old me screaming to shrink.
Hide.
But reborn Kylie? She stepped forward. Mike snatched from a stunned neighbor. Grudge?
Try theft.
$28,000 from my future. Funneled to her vanity project. Ask the bank statements. Public record soon. Gasps. Sarah's face twisted. Megaphone dangling. You're jealous of my life. My happiness. Happiness. The word ignited something primal. Jealous? Of a con artist who forged docs and faked miscarriages for sympathy?
Nah.
I'm liberated. The crowd murmured, some nodding, others filming on phones. Jake tugged her arm. She yanked free, charging me. You killed us. No baby. No home. Because of you. Her fist connected with my shoulder. A glancing blow that sent me stumbling into the host's azaleas. Chaos. Shouts. Someone dialing 911. Cops arrived. Sarah cuffed and Mirandized. Her mascara rivers of defeat. As they loaded her, she screamed, I hate you. Kylie, you were always the mistake. Mistake. The knife twisted deep, dredging the buried secret I'd glimpsed in therapy sessions with my own counselor, a weekly ritual to unpack the crash's phantom trauma. Turns out, in utero, Mom had considered abortion after a prenatal scare, chromosomal flags on Sarah. But me, the healthy follow-up who'd fixed nothing. Sarah knew, overheard as a teen, internalized as license to lord. It explained the venom, the endless sabotage. Not excuse,
But key.
As the cruiser pulled away, I sank to the grass, breath ragged. Dad enveloped me, Mom hovering, her hand tentative on my back. It's over, he murmured.
Was it?
The trial was a circus, Bellevue courthouse packed with locals. Reporters from the PI, sniffing blood. Rebecca dismantled Sarah's counsel like a house of cards, emails printed in 12-point. Witnesses from the clinic confirming the embryo irregularities. Sarah took the stand, crumbling undercross. I panicked. The pressure, the clock ticking. Tears. Sure. But the jury, 6 women, 6 men, mirrors of middle America, saw the calculation. Fraud. Guilty. Restitution. $75,000. Triple damages. Jake filed for separation days later, citing irreconcilable trust issues. Twist came post-verdict. In the quiet aftermath, Mom handed me a manila envelope over Thanksgiving turkey, Dad's nod of approval across the table. Read it alone. Upstairs. I tore it open. A letter from Sarah, penned in county lockup. Not apology, but confession. The miscarriage? Real, but exaggerated. Told to mom to secure the fund dip. The investment? Deliberate scam. She'd pocketed 20% kickback. And the deepest cut. I pushed you that night after the fight. Texted drive safe. Sis, knowing you'd rage blind. Didn't expect the crash. But part of me hoped. For what space? Silence? My death as her absolution? Rage boiled. Then ebbed to ice. She'd aimed to wound, not kill. Collateral. Again. I burned the letter in the sink. Flames licking blue. Ashes swirling down the drain. No charges. Insufficient for vehicular. But the weight? Mine to carry or cast. Kylie Harper. Version 2.0. Emerged that winter. Transferred to UW on a hardship scholarship. Ironic. But fitting, majoring in investigative reporting. Exposed a local Ponzi ring in my junior year. Bylines splashed across the stranger. Mom and dad? Rebuilding. Therapy Tuesdays a ritual. Sarah? Paroled after 6 months. Vanished to Spokane with a cousin. Radio silence enforced by court order. Last I heard, no baby. Just a waitressing gig and court-mandated AA. Revenge wasn't fireworks, it was erosion. Slow and sure. That one word, no, didn't just change everything, it carved a new path. From the ashes of betrayal, I rose, not unbroken, but forged stronger. Seattle's rains still fell, but now I danced in them, civic purring under me, future wide as the sound.
Alive.
Unfinished. Unstoppable.